Hi, everyone. This is Rick. What does it mean to grieve the Holy Spirit? When the Holy Spirit gets grieved, he's in great sadness and anguish. So, why is that? When a buyer comes along and wants to buy some houses, and the owners of those homes accept his offer, he puts down a huge cash payment into escrow to guarantee his purchase of those homes. They accept that, they sign the papers. Those homes now belong to the buyer when escrow finishes. The thing is those sellers have to fulfill the terms of that escrow agreement before the buyer can take possession, the full possession. Now, if you have a group of those sellers who sit there with their escrow contracts, bickering with each other as to what each other is not doing, they're not putting the effort into fulfilling the terms in their own homes. They're too concerned with the others fulfilling the terms in their homes. And all you get is people throwing stones at each other. In today's vernacular, we have a saying, those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. That's why. Because none of them are fulfilling their terms of escrow. They're fulfilling some of them, and they're busy pointing their fingers at the others who aren't fulfilling those. But they're ignoring other terms that the others are fulfilling and pointing their fingers at them. Only a small handful of sellers is going to ignore all that and focus on their house. And this is what happened last week in a video I did. I did a video on Catholics and Protestants about how all this bickering, and I use that as an example as to how all this bickering was pointless and fruitless and did not achieve God's purpose in our lives. That God has his people everywhere. All denominations have children of God who have drawn close to Christ. And they understand the purpose of the trappings of their religions were giving for their benefit so that they can keep focus on Christ. Most people in these denominations do not, and that they spend their time bickering and talking trash about each other as to who is right and who is wrong. And I use Catholics and Protestants as an example for this. And you know what happened? Most of the people who heard that video, whether they liked it or didn't say anything, understood the point I was making. But I got a ton of commenters. For me, it was a ton. For most YouTube and Twitter channels, it was not even a drop in the bucket. But for me, it was a lot of commenters. Only a few, 3 or 4 of those commenters understood what I was talking about. Every other commenter on both channels were Protestants who were doing nothing but bashing the Catholic Church. One Catholic tried to defend his sacraments as the tools he uses to come closer to Christ and tried to defend the misperception that the Protestants had toward them. Every criticism the Protestants had toward the Catholics, and I'm not Catholic, I've never been in a Catholic church, but every criticism they had involved idolatry, involved false teachings. But as I look at the Protestant church, because I come out of the Protestant church, as I look at them, most of them are involved in idolatry and false teachings because they live in the world just as like some of the Catholics live in the world. That's why I don't go to church. I don't want nothing to do with that stuff. It's like you worship Baal and you criticize the person who worship Molech because I don't worship Molech like you do. Well, most Israelites who worship Baal and Molech also worshiped at the temple. They thought they were serving God. So does most Christians. And this grieved the Holy Spirit. Now, if God is anguished over this, if he is so sad over this, why aren't we? Why do we have to have a darkened heart of this world and lash out in anger? We're saying, well, we're not angry. We're just pointing some facts. No, you are angry. Your heart is in anger, even though you don't feel the emotion of anger. That anger is not the love of God living in you. And that, as Jesus said, is murder. We are blaspheming God, murdering our brothers and sisters by this constant bickering and not focusing on our homes. The time is close. Don't be the one who grieves the Holy Spirit. Don't be the one who focuses on others and ignores your own place. Until next time, God bless.